CEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in weight loss, mindset, and business. Learn our top tips to set you up for success so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, and feel unstoppable. He's recognized as one of the most requested in-demand business and motivational keynote speakers, the world's #1 big money speaker, trainer and coach, marketing consultant in the world, featured on hit ABC show Secret Millionaire, and was twice named the National College Speaker of the Year, James Malinchak. Hey, James.
Hey, Lisa, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. And thanks for your awesome work you do to empower and uplift people.
I am so thrilled to have you. I know you're such an awesome motivational speaker, and I want to talk about where did you grow up and how did you start out?
I grew up in a very tiny steel mill town outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, population about 6,000 people. And we didn't have anything growing up. Mom was a lunch mother at the school serving lunches to us kids, and Dad was a railroad conductor for the steel mill working on the railroad. And so had big dreams and goals, but it wasn't like I came from anything. And so I ended up, long story short, taking a basketball scholarship to help kind of get out of the steel mill town. And when I got out of college, I started to get this bumblebee in my tummy. And that was to, man, wouldn't it be cool if I was able to speak and empower people? Because there was a guy who spoke to our junior high school class when I was in school back in Monessen, Pennsylvania, a tiny steel town. And he said something from the stage that changed my life. And it's still something that I believe and follow to this day, all these years later. So here I was, and I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to like do that for people like this man did for me way back in junior high school? And so, yeah, I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to be a speaker and empower people. So that's kind of how I got started.
Well, I want to know two things. First of all, what did he say that you remember to this day?
Yeah, he said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And that means you can do anything you want in life. Now get off your butt and go do it. And, you know, just for some reason it stuck with me. I don't know why. I don't know if it stuck with anybody else, but it stuck with me that day.
Oh, it works. And I want to talk about the topic about being unstoppable. And I even loved reading a little bit about your story about how you got started in the financial world. And I love how you say the low IQ, but the high I will. So can you touch upon that a little bit for me?
Yeah, I always tell folks, especially when I speak, I say, look, what it takes for you and I to be successful, what it takes for you and I to bounce back from adversity. And by the way, we all will go through adversity because life's not fair, life's not unfair, life is life. And the only thing we can do when we're blessed to flip open our eyelids in the morning is do the best we can with what we've got, right? And it's not about how many times you get knocked down, because you and I will be knocked down.
Right.
If you want to be unstoppable, it's about how many times, this is important, you decide to get up. You got to decide to get up and get off your butt and actually get up. And so the whole I will IQ, I always say what it takes to be successful and overcome things and to be unstoppable. It's not about how much smarts you have. It's about how much heart you have. And it's not about your IQ. It's about your I will.
Oh, thank you so much for that. That is so
You're
awesome.
welcome.
And I love also want to know your opinion about not only what is making us unstoppable, but what stops us, what gets in our way.
Man, there's so many things that can stop us. So the first thing is your old preconditioning, right? The way you're used to thinking, the way you're used to behaving. See, your thoughts create your actions create your habits create your results, good or bad, positive or negative, right? So if you want to change your results, you got to go all the way back and change the way you think. And the problem is, you and I have been thinking a certain way and been programmed from birth a certain way, right? And so we've got to change the way we think. We got to change our preconditioning, because those things can stop us. They could handcuff us. They could put our car in park so to speak. You know, you're trying to press the gas, but you're in park and not moving, right?
Right.
And you can't figure out why. Well, check your old story, check your old conditioning. Just because you've done it a certain way or you had certain beliefs a certain way doesn't mean that you need to keep that way. First part of all transformation, ready, Lisa? Here, first part of all transformation is awareness.
Right.
Once you and I are aware, like I'm aware of like the way I used to do things and the way I used to think. Once I'm aware that I think that way, you can change that fast once you become aware of it. So if you are aware, and hopefully now all your great folks who are going to be watching this are aware that their old conditioning, their old thought patterns, their old habits, watching the way people in their family did things in the past. Once you're aware that you actually are performing to those things, bam, you can switch that fast. But if you're not aware, you can't transform. So first part of all transformation and getting unstuck in any situation is becoming aware of what's stopping you and what's getting you stuck. But old conditioning, then you have the news, right? Here we are in a crazy pandemic situation right now. I purposely don't turn, I got a TV right here and I don't turn it on.
Me neither.
Because it's negative. It's all crap, right? It's BS. Because people forget that the media, the stations are trying to get more viewership because that raises advertising dollars. So, you know, they're always going to report negative stuff, right? So don't tune into the negativity that's floating around. Look at what it really is. It's driving advertising dollars. They never report, let's just take the pandemic, how many cases actually people had COVID-19 and now are fine.
Right.
You never hear that anywhere. So you got to be careful of your surroundings. You got to be careful of your old story. Last one is you got to watch out for NIOPs, NIOPS, the negative influence of other people. NIOP, right? NIOP, right? Because they can steal your vision. They can steal your dream. You might have negative people around you. Doesn't mean they're mean-spirited. It just means some people suffer from one of the worst diseases on this planet, possibility blindness. They don't see what's possible, so they try to tell you, oh, who do you think you are, girl? Or, dude, what are you doing? Like, nobody from your family's done that. Why? What makes you think you can do that? And so then we get stuck. So those are some things that stick us.
I love the NIOPs. Thank you so much for all these like wisdom truth bombs. This is like fabulous. And what happens then once you have this awareness? Do you have some kind of like a spiritual practice that gets you like to reprogram your brain once you're already aware of the negative conditioning from your past?
So the very first thing I always tell folks is, okay, so once you get this negativity and you're aware of it, right? So then you become, ladies, I always say, ladies, you got to be like Wonder Woman. When bullets were shot at Wonder Woman, now that she's aware, what did she do? She put up the bracelets, right?
I love it.
And blocked it. Yeah, deflect it. Oh, sorry, I just pulled my headphones. I got all excited. I pulled my headphones out. And I always say, guys, once you're aware of this negativity that can be pulling you back or shooting at you, you got to be like Superman. When bullets were shot at Superman, what did he do? Put up the chest, bing, let him bounce off. Didn't let it sink in. See, this is cool. Ready, Lisa? Once you are aware, you can choose to reject the old way of thinking, acting, and believing. Bing, bing. You can choose to reject it. And you can choose to do things differently because you're aware now.
I love it. So instead of just acting on autopilot, you can make a different choice because you always are aware of that. And I know you're really big into charity and giving back in such a big way. And I want to hear a little bit more of your stories about the secret millionaire, because sometimes when we're all caught up in our own head about how we have problems, what about just generosity? How can that help us?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know, so I think the greatest quote ever created was Zig Ziglar. There's a lot of great quotes, but Zig said something, one of the great motivational speaker for those of you watching who may not know. But Zig said something, man, changed my life. He said, you know, you can get anything you want out of life if you simply just help enough people get what they want. And I always do this analogy in my talks where I don't have one here. I should have had one. I put a napkin. I've been doing this for 20 some years in my talks. I have a napkin draped down that's stuck in my shirt. And I say, when you and I are born, we come into this world and we get a bib placed under our chin. And we get programmed that way. If you study anything about the mind, right? We have our conscious mind. That's what we're thinking with right now. And we have our subconscious. When we go to sleep, our conscious mind goes to sleep. Our subconscious never sleeps. It's like a program. It's like a computer program that just stores everything, right? It doesn't reject, it doesn't analyze. So check this out. If we get a bib placed under our chin, we get programmed to go through life like that, meaning we think people should be serving and giving to us. In essence, right. You are a taker.
Oh.
And what I do in my talks, I've been doing this for 20 years, I take and I say, if you really want to get through things and you really want to have abundance in your life and you want to get unstuck and you want to go for amazing things and you want to make a true difference in this world, you have to consciously, and I pull the napkin out from my bib and I say, you got to take that bib off and you got to drape it over your arm like you are a server in the finest dining establishment on the planet, and you go through life approaching everybody in every situation of what can I do for somebody? How can I make this person's life better? They're having a tough time. Maybe I can tell them a joke and make them laugh. This person is going through a tough time. Maybe I could spend 5 minutes just listening to them. See, if you go through that, if you go through life with a servant's heart and a service focus, but just always remember, walk through life every day, every night, wearing the napkin, it's amazing. You don't have to give hundreds of thousands of dollars to charities if you can give to people every day by just choosing to wear the napkin through life.
I love that. And tell us a little bit about your secret millionaire experience. That was so fascinating too.
Oh, it was amazing. First of all, I didn't think it was real. So I get this email that came in, and my assistant, we go through everything on Fridays. By the way, that's a great business lesson. Like, she and I aren't talking all during the week. We save everything up. We talk on Fridays. We spend 30 minutes and she runs down things and I say, yes, no, okay, you, meaning you handle it. No, me, I'll handle it. I mean, and boom, we're off the phone in 30 minutes.
I love it.
So we're on our phone call doing that. And she says, yeah, this email came in. Something about they want to talk to you about being on this show thing. It wasn't ABC. They hide it. It was a documentary. And I'm like, well, tell them I'm not interested. Because everybody, right, Lisa, is a show producer nowadays. Right?
Right.
I said, I'm not interested. So about 2 weeks later, another one came in. And they said, mutual friend said that we should talk to you. And I said, you know what? I told my assistant, Cindy, I said, let me have the phone number. I'll call them back, tell them I'm not interested. So I called them back. And the next thing I know, we're on the phone talking for an hour. And I'm like, they're very pleasant to talk to. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this thing. I don't know what they're talking about, some documentary thing. And so finally they said, well, you sound great. And we have to tell you something. We're not XYZ production. We are actually ABC TV. And the show is not called blank, blank, blank. It's called Secret Millionaire. And it's going to be on prime time. And I'm like, get out of here. Like, why would you want me? I'm just a business guy. I'm a motivational. I'm not some TV guy, right? And so they said, can we come to your house in 2 days and meet with you? And I was like, what? Sure, come to my house, right? They walk in my house. I still don't believe it's true. I'm sitting there like this, like, yeah, okay, what kind of scam you running on me, right? And so finally they convinced me that it was ABC. And here's what made me do it, because I turned them down. This was like the third or fourth time. They're in my house. I'm turning them down again. Then they had nobody ever turned them down. They're like, we're ABC TV. I'm like, I don't care. Like, you guys are going to do something weird. It's like, you're going to scam me or something, right? And so they said this. They said, I said, well, what is this show about? And so, well, it's called Secret Millionaire. You're going to live undercover, and we're going to help people who are less fortunate, and we're going to help their charities, and we're going to, and it's just like a bell went off. Yeah, I believe maybe God talked to me and said, ding, 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 ding. This is more than a show. This could be a movement that could cause people to go out and help more people. And that's why I did the show. It wasn't because I wanted to be on TV. It was because I thought there was a bigger reason that I was being called to be a part of this show. And the 3 or 4 times I said no, they kept coming back. And I was like, okay, that has to happen for a reason. Maybe I'm not seeing the big picture. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. People have their hope tanks on E. And what we're going to do in this show can help put the fuel and the hope back into people's tanks. This isn't a show. This is just a way to help more people. It just happens to be through a TV show. So that's how I did the show.
I love it. Okay, my last question for you is about hope, because I know you just brought that up, and I just think that's an important thing. So, can you just leave our audience? I know you're one of the best motivational speakers there are. Like,
oh, the pressure! I hope I don't choke.
Hope, and how can we get it?
So here's what I tell everybody, and man, anybody watching, look, if you've been through a tough time, and you have, my toughest time was I lost my sister to a brain tumor several years ago. Oh my God. And I went through the worst funk. You know, I was mad at everybody. And I'm like, how can this happen? She's the sweetest human being on the planet. We got people out there killing people for no reasons. Why is my sister taken? You know, so we all go through whatever your funk is, whatever your tough time is. The one thing I know we all have in common. I don't care if you're tall or short, rich or poor, young or old, male or female. I don't care where you came from. I don't care where you're going. The one thing I know we all have in common is we all go through tough situations. We all get knocked down in life, which, by the way, Lisa, why isn't that taught to kids in school? Meaning how to get unstuck and how to be unstoppable, right? So here's what I say. First thing is realize that it's not just you, right? Second thing, realize it's a part of life. Third thing is if you want to create hope for yourself, you have to develop what I call a strong, red-hot why. Okay, strong. Way before people write books on figuring out your why. I was talking about this 25 years ago. You have to figure out get a strong, red-hot why. See, here's what I mean. That why, it could be a one-word answer. It could be a sentence. It could be a paragraph. It could be a picture of somebody who inspires you. Like my sister who passed away inspires me. She's a big reason of my why. And you need to focus on that every single day. And here's what happens. When you create a why for yourself, it automatically creates a purpose for you. And when you create that purpose, it ignites your passion. And when you ignite your passion, it's like flipping on the switch and it cruises you into what I call the power. See, it's purpose, passion, and power. And it starts by figuring out what is your strong, red hot why. You cannot go from here all the way over here. You have to crawl. Then you will walk, then you will run. It's purpose, passion, and power. And the way you ignite all that is by figuring out, and I'll explain what it is, a red hot why. Here's what I mean. There is no right or wrong why. There is only a strong or weak why. So you have to get a strong, red hot why for yourself. You can't copy somebody else's why. It's whatever juices you up. It's whatever keeps you going. And here's why. A strong red hot why is so important, because when you go through tough times, you get stuck and you want to become unstoppable and you get knocked down in life, that why, that strong red hot why will get you up rather than let you quit and give up. Get yourself a strong red hot why.
Thank you, James Malinchak. You are freaking awesome. Where can people find you?
Oh, real simple. Just go to www.bigmoneyspeaker.com. Or you can find me somewhere on social media. That's where Lisa and I met.
Absolutely. LinkedIn, Facebook, all of that. Thank you, James.
Yes. Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Good Pod. Protein shakes are messy, expensive, and hard to make. Good Pod is a new amazing shake maker that's a blender and a pod in one. Take a pod, fill your glass with water or milk in 60 seconds or less. You have a healthy protein shake and it's ready to drink. Just like that.